Of course, it takes a little bit of that. But it's gonna be full of green grass for a minute. Yeah, other than that, I don't really have a list of games that I'm like, oh, I gotta play this before Ghost of Tsushima. It's just not a whole lot on my mind. Not a whole lot on my list, but it's also a very long list. I mean, I also want to play like, oh, what's it called? These can stay there. Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. Whenever I can get my hands on that. Oh, I bet. I know it's like one of those like it's like an open world style game, right? Like I'm really trying to think of a way. Like it's definitely one where I want a custom thumbnail because it's gonna be a lot of um a lot of gameplay. A lot of gameplay in that game. Like because how would you describe Ghost of Tsushima? Is it like a open world, like clearly it's an open world samurai game, but like how would be the best way to describe it? It's open world, but it did it in the way Ubisoft wants Assassin's Creed to feel. Damn. So not necessarily Fallout, but not like Horizon, right? That Sony IP. It's no Horizon Forbidden West or whatever those IPs are. I also own Horizon, by the way. That's a game. That's another like PlayStation game I wanted to play. Speaking about Assassin's Creed and wanting it to be a Ghost of Tsushima, that new one coming out where it's like the Japanese era they're running with, and people are mad that you get to play as a woman, which is weird because they've done that in like the last like four, besides like Creed maybe. Like the like last like three or four, you could play as a woman and be like, "Hey, at birth, I'm a man or a woman, one of the two." Like you get to choose. But how dare you in this one have to play as a woman? And I say that in like the most jokey of way I know of saying. Right? Like it was such a weird thing. Like I'm just like who cares? It doesn't affect anything. I don't know, bro. So people get mad if you play as a girl, like female character in like any game. I got told one time in one video when I played oh, it was what game was it one? Um Sunset Overdrive, which that game needs to get a remake or like a second game 13 years later. Actually, it would be about 10 years later. That game needs a second one. Somebody got mad I played as a girl in that game, and I was like, bro, who cares? Like, I think And this was unintentional, but in like Dark Souls 2, I accidentally changed my character to a girl with a coffin. And I was like, guess I'm a female now. I guess I'm playing as a girl. Like, companies can't even say like girl or like guy bodies anymore. They have to do A or B, which I think is fine. Don't get me wrong. I understand it because people who are like non-binary, it works for them, but then go play Ghost of Tsushima. Like, go play, and if you want something harder than Ghost, and I don't know, go play like I don't know if I'm not saying Ghost is an easy game. I don't know, but like if you're wanting like the genuine samurai experience, I don't know, go play Medal of Honor, For Honor. Go play Sekiro. Go play Ghost of Tsushima. Like 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 there's a bunch of different games you can go play that if you want to feel that experience and go feel it. And people get so mad because like I think I strictly play girl characters in Call of Duty just because I don't want to hear a dude screaming in my ear. So I grew up listening to that like Granada, and it would be a dude screaming in my ear. I'm like, cool. And now it's just nice to hear like a feminine voice, like, oh no. But some people are like too afraid. Or, you know, the more obvious choice that I know a bunch of people want, they just want to play as a girl. They have no intentions of being a girl. They're just like, I kind of want to play as a like pretty girl in this game. Cool. Or the other reason, they want to look at a fat ass. That's why a lot of people play girls in like Fortnite because they made the girls with fat asses because of the way their bodies for the characters are made. Like I'm like, what why does it matter? Just play your game. You enjoy it how you want to enjoy it, and I'll enjoy it how I want to enjoy it. Is my Elden Ring character now right now a pretty like goth girl? Yeah, absolutely. Do you notice? No, because I wear a helmet. Unless I made a mention of it because she started like my character started sounding like a girl screaming, then you would have never noticed. I actually started that game as like a male body, but then like between the DLC announcement and or after the DLC got announced, I decided to go do stuff. Well, isn't the game actually based around her story and they just put a male version because people would get upset? Because I'm pretty sure that's based around like I don't know if like the actual story in history is like a girl or whatever, but like I'm pretty sure that game was meant to be surrounded by that. Like, that girl was supposed to be the main character in that game. And then they were just like, here's another variant of it. Yeah, the male isn't canon. It was supposed to be her story. But they, like, to be fair, it's inclusive, whatever. But it's like, oh, what game was it? That people got mad there's gonna be a female lead. Oh, GTA. Like, people got mad at GTA for having a female lead. I'm like, what is your problem? Like, who cares? Like, bro, like, who cares? When that game, of course, when that game comes out, that's also going to be like a game, but I don't think the game, like a game I'm going to play, but I don't think the game comes out until like fall of next year. Bro, because like alpha omega males want to get upset that they can't have their manly experience, I guess. I don't know. Is it going to be longer? Have they announced pushbacks? I just know they announced it like for fall next year. And that was like their whole thing. They didn't actually like specify a date, to be fair, so they're just like, hey, this is going to be like, it's going to be released next year. Or spring, I don't know. I don't think so, to be honest with you. I feel like it's pretty done. They're probably just polishing stuff up at this point. That would be my guess for it. It seems like they have the story. It seems like they're probably just kind of trying to either one, the PS Pro got announced and it's gonna come out next season, next holiday season. And I mean the Series X isn't gonna get another one. Xbox or Microsoft is pretty much just like, hey, these are our two consoles we're gonna release, and they're probably gonna be our last batch of consoles for a long time. So I mean, if the PS5 Pro comes out, they're probably waiting for that and probably working on a version for that and porting it over and such. I mean, Rockstar never really has a problem with like glitches and like yeah, they have had glitches in the past. Nobody's gonna look past those, but like they're not like Bethesda and Starfield or Bethesda and like any Fallout game. Their games are pretty solid. I don't really feel like we have a problem with Rockstar pushing out a game. Oh, yeah. I know another one. I guess I want to play this, but this is even further on the list than Ghost. Red Dead Redemption 2. I like I want to play it, but yeah, every Bethesda game ever. Like I want to play it, but it's also just like not really something I'm worried about at the current moment. You know what I mean? But yeah. Like besides they never really have had an issue with stuff. It's mostly just they're almost like too much perfection. If anything, they're just kind of slave labelers sometimes. That hasn't been spoiled to me yet. No, I mean, but to be fair, I wasn't really into it, and when it came out, so I didn't really care enough to look. I probably know the ending without thinking about it. It's one of those things where I didn't ever watch anybody play that game. It was just more when it came out and people spoiling it, but I also was at this point where I'm like, I'm not really interested in this game, so I don't really care if it gets spoiled. But that was years ago, so who knows what it's like. I couldn't tell you the ending. Oh yeah. Did you play The Last of Us 2? Spoiler alert for anybody watching the VOD or watching whatever video this is. But have you ever played Last of Us Part 2, Big Phil? I'm a big Last of Us series fan. I can't wait till the next season comes out. That's gonna be fun. Um, I do hope they release a third game, but I hope it has nothing to do with Ellie. If that sounds weird, I feel like her story is just kind of done and over with, and we're ready to move on. Give me. Oh, you haven't played it? Are you interested in playing it? They're great games. I do feel like the story's a bit long for two, but at the same time, you're basically getting two games or two big old stories. Uh, you're getting two big old stories in one game. You're not worried about spoiler. Okay, spoiler alert for anybody who's like actually wanting to play Last of Us 2 and like want to like generally play it. The story kind of was the ending of the story was very not good. Like I like The Last of Us 2. I actually think it's a great game. But the ending of the story was kind of like sad, but in the wrong way. Like it just not in a good way. Ellie just gets back and her girlfriend at the like girlfriend wife or whatever is just gone. I mean, and to be fair, she had every right to leave. Like she said, "Hey, Ellie, if you're gonna go after these people, you're gonna go after this person. I'm not gonna be here when you get back." And hey, lo and behold, she wasn't there. And then Ellie just runs off in the forest, and you're just kind of like, okay. Like, you could have stopped. Like, I guess they just wanted to finish up the story and be like, hey, like, actions have consequences. And even though she took away one of her actions to not have a consequence, the other action she did take had another consequence. And it was just like, it was fine, but it was just kind of like not needed. And that's just like the last like 3 minutes of the game, to be fair. It's a great game. I think you should definitely play The Last of Us 1 and 2. It's my favorite game, like top two. To be fair, if you ask me what my top one is, I couldn't tell you. I played too many games, I've learned. And I really like a lot of games. If it wasn't obvious enough, Phil, I really like games. On the PS4. Actually both are. If you uh The Last of Us Part 2 was actually released on the PS4, and then like a year later it just came out like a couple months ago where they were like, hey, we're gonna re-release this game for the 5 for some odd reason. And of course Last of Us Part 1 actually released on the PS3. They remastered it for the PS4 because it came out a year later. But then they remade it for the PS5 like 2 years ago. So it like Last of Us Part 2 is on the PS4 and PS5. Last of Us Part 3 or Part 1 is on the PS3, PS4, and PS5. And of course, both of them are backwards compatible with the PS5. So if you had it on the PS5, you could play it on the. If you had it on the PS4, you can play it on PS5. For which game? Because like both of them are good. I had The Last of Us remastered on PS4, but I gave it to a friend to play, and I wasn't concerned about getting it back because I have the PS5 version now, so if I ever want to play it, I can. Discard Online for PS4. I mean, I can believe that. I feel like PS or Xbox 360 games are kind of like a hit or miss. It depends on like what game you want. If it's like a common game, sure. I'm actually kind of curious. eBay. Yeah, Prototype 2 is $10. This is kind of like what you want. Yeah, Halo 4 is like 11, $12. That's a 2-disc game, really? Assassin's Creed 360. Like $30, but that's honestly like a collector's item at this point. Yeah, I feel like a lot of games are kind of like it can be all over the place depending on what you want. Most games are probably between like $5 to $10 or 5 to 20, like 30 at most, depending on what kind of game you want. Dude, people want a Deadpool game complete for $58. I mean, sure, I get it, but you can just buy it probably for like $20 online, like on the Xbox store.
No problem.